Pallavi Rao. I'm the mobilization organizer with Philly JWJ. A bunch of excellent tapas. Like you've got your ceviche, and then you've got like the potatoes dish, the potatoes bravas. Like it's got everything, and all of it is wonderful. So I grew up in Appalachian, Kentucky, in a small town called Hazard. My parents immigrated from India in 1982, and at the time, immigrant physicians were given visas if they went to places with physician shortages. So that's how we ended up in Kentucky. And my dad, he comes from like a very leftist political family. They were farmers in India, and he was the first person in his family to finish school, and then he became a doctor. And I just saw him trying to, as an immigrant man in an entirely new environment, trying to understand the community around him through the lens of public health. And it was also just so incredible to be in a place that had such a strong militant labor history, but in the 90s and the early 2000s was really suffering from just rapid deindustrialization. And my father, he would come home and he would talk to us, and his understanding of what was happening in the community was all from talking and caring for his patients. And I remember most of his patients were former coal miners who were no longer employed in the mines, overwhelmingly because they had become disabled because of their work. So they all had black lung, and he's a cardiologist, so he was trying to provide heart care for folks whose lungs were not providing enough oxygen. So for him, he was just like, this is wild. Like, how can we celebrate an industry that robs people of their health? And I'm very close with my dad, so I would just spend a lot of time in the office with him, and that pulled me into the movement. I started out as a community organizer working with disabled coal miners in my hometown, and that just really, that was how I got into the movement. Wanting to fight for jobs that, yes, would provide financial stability for people in their communities, but not at the cost of their health and their lives. Oh, it's something from the new Bad Bunny album. It might just be the entire new Bad Bunny album. Yeah, I think it's Lila from the Golden Compass. I think she's really inquisitive, and like she's so inquisitive that it sort of guides her on very strange adventures, but she's also courageous and asks good questions and has a good intuition. I don't think I have all of those things, but I aspire to those things. So from my background, you can probably tell that I have found working on health and safety on the job to be incredibly interesting. I know that some of my friends think it's very strange that I know so much about OSHA, but I do. I also have been working with disability justice, and I've also been thinking at the intersections of good jobs and climate change. I think I think these are the things that I've found really interesting lately. Philly is Philly. I think of myself now as a Philadelphian. Even if I was adopted, I showed up in 2009, and one of the things that I think is unique about Philadelphia and then Philly JWJ is that people people show up, and they're hardcore, and they are so very supportive of each other in the movement space. And I think our superpower might just be that, like, you shouldn't mess with Philly. Like, we'll fight you. We'll fight anybody. And we'll fight anybody together, which is really nice. So I came on to the Philly JWJ team about 4 months ago, and one of the things that really impressed me was there's a really profound commitment to being a bridge between community organizations and organized labor in the city. And this team is so invested in building a vibrant, cohesive, and strong coalition. And I think that work of bringing groups that may not think that they're sharing a lot of space or even the same space, this particular organization does an incredible job bringing people to the table and having each other invest in a shared space. And I think it is one of the best ways to ensure that your movement is healthy, is to, even if you're working on different things, develop an understanding that you are in community with one another, and it's not just this superficial community. It is living and breathing the same air and time, and just understanding that our movements are healthiest when we understand each other and we show up for one another.